This is Hoosier Ag Today and the morning edition on the 2nd of October, 2015. It's a Friday morning. I'm Andy Eubank, and we have the latest Indiana farm news for you. Unlike corn and soybean producers, pork producers can expect profits this year, but there may be some risks next year. Gary Truitt explains. Also, farmers have a new way to ensure safety on the farm year-round. Kayla McClellan has that story. Hat meteorologist Ryan Martin checks in with our Indiana farm forecast. And we'll look back at a mixed day for the markets, a sell-off in beans, higher corn and wheat. All the details next, the morning edition of Hoosier Ag Today.
Indiana Farm Bureau needs you. It's critical for your farm and family that your voice be heard daily. Farm Bureau membership tells legislators that Indiana agriculture stands together on property tax issues, farmland annexation, and water rules. Protect your livelihood and children's future by going online to infb.org/join or call 1-800-FARM-BUREAU. infb.org/join or call 1-800-FARM-BUREAU. Your membership brings value and benefits, but more importantly, it adds your voice to that of your neighbors and friends. Don't stand on the sidelines. Be heard on local, state, and national issues. We'll show you how. Indiana Farm Bureau needs you. Go to infb.org/join or call 1-800-FARM-BUREAU.
This is Hoosier Ag Today. I'm Andy Eubank reporting on Indiana agriculture. Don't forget to check out our agronomy page at HoosierAgToday.com for our regular DuPont Pioneer agronomy and harvest updates. Unlike corn and soybean producers, pork producers can expect profits in 2015. But as Gary Truitt reports, there may be some risks awaiting in 2016.
Overall, pork production is expected to be 7% higher in 2015 than it was last year. Hog prices are forecast to average $51 on a live weight basis, and pork production forecast to only increase 1% in 2016. Purdue economist Chris Hurt says basically in the pork sector, supply and demand will remain in balance for the next 12 months.
But this also, I think, serves as a warning to the industry to make sure that as we look at further expansion plans, we keep those very moderate.
There are some clouds on the horizon, however. Hurt says one of them being a recent jump in fed cattle prices.
Those lower finished cattle prices should begin to show up fairly quickly in lower retail beef prices, maybe even in September, but especially October, November, December. Now, while those prices are very much higher on a per pound basis than pork, any lowering of beef prices at the retail level will make some additional competition for pork.
He added beef supplies will continue to increase over the next few years, and poultry supplies will also continue to grow, providing more competition for pork in the meat case. Hurt says pork exports will also likely be down in 2016, which again could put more pork in the U.S. pipeline.
And that, of course, is due to the slowing world economic growth that we tend to be in at this point, and part of that is resulting in a strong U.S. dollar.
He urges pork producers to take advantage of low grain prices this fall and not to assume that grain prices will remain at current levels for 2016. I'm Gary Truitt.
Farmers have a new way to ensure safety on the farm year-round. Kayla McClellan has the details.
Whatever the reason might be for a lack of safety training on the farm, it's now easier with an online tool that meets compliance requirements under the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Good Day's Work is a new web-based business that combines an expanding library of employee safety training videos. President Don Tyler says the program was designed with convenience and usability in mind.
Our videos are just very short. They're fully mobile. You can access them anywhere. There's an online platform. You can send out an email. The employee clicks on the email, watches the video, takes a quiz, takes about 15 minutes, and they've passed the requirement for the training.
Beyond the training, Tyler says there is a system in place to hold each employee accountable while taking that busy work away from management.
Quiz comes up at the end, you answer some multiple choice questions, and it's done, and the system captures all of the results, all of the questions, and how well they've done on that platform and on that set of quizzes, and it tracks that and accumulates that so we can track that for whether it's that location or a particular department, however we want to identify and differentiate our employees.
OSHA says there are 10 categories that every business should teach their employees. Tyler says they've also broken off content specific to agriculture with a big focus on grain bin entrapment.
In 2010, we hit a high mark on that, 57 entrapments across the country in 2010. Half of those ended in fatalities. It's one of the things that, quite frankly, is putting us on OSHA's radar.
Read more on this story on our website, HoosierAgToday.com. I'm Kayla McClelland.
Thanks, Kayla. I'm Andy Eubank. This is Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at Hoosier Ag Today's Indiana Farm Forecast from the Wells Fargo Forecast Center. Taking a look at the latest surface analysis across the Hoosier State, there's really not much change in what's been going on here the past couple of days and what we're looking at again today. As a matter of fact, we've gotten another dry, pleasant day here. Most of the eyes of the nation, and you know what? Most of our eyes here in Indiana probably need to be turned toward Hurricane Joaquin, turned into a Category 4 hurricane yesterday. That was not really all that unexpected, but track is still a big issue. I believe that we're going to be seeing this track keep the storm out to sea. We saw some of the U.S. models kind of backtrack and shift it east a little bit. The European has been on this from moment one, and there's nothing really out there that makes us want to change our mind right now. So if it stays farther out to sea, if things stay farther east, that lends more credence to our thought process that it's going to be really difficult to get any kind of serious moisture that's associated with the blow-off from Joaquin into our neck of the woods this weekend. Won't rule out some cloud cover, but I don't think we see much moisture. Now, the European model does try and keep a few scattered showers around over southern parts of the state coming up across the Ohio River Valley. Actually, at this point, I think that's probably more associated with a batch of thunderstorms that we saw fire off basically in the middle of nowhere. Not associated with any front, but a weak lower to mid-level disturbance over Oklahoma yesterday. That's probably going to be drifting across parts of Arkansas today and then hooking up with still some lingering moisture flow over Kentucky and Tennessee. So if there is any moisture that sneaks in as we go through tomorrow over the southern half of the state, it's going to be associated with that, not so much Joaquin. And then as we go on into the start of the week, Sunday, Monday, we're looking pretty good, and I still look for us to be dry through at least midweek. Where things get interesting is whether or not that next front is able to develop and move through as we head through Thursday. And the latest model runs seemed to want to back off of that just a little bit. Now, in terms of those who are wanting to keep rolling on the harvest side, I guess that's not all bad. If you're wanting a little bit of moisture for wheat planting, well, then you probably aren't too happy. Either way, it does look like the next round of precipitation may hold off until we get into the following weekend. Even that is not over the top done. That weekend event looks to me like it's more tied to a system that comes out of the Central Plains, the middle to second half of next week. Either way, moisture totals are minor. A few hundredths of an inch to maybe a couple of tenths. And right now, if we put most of that action off later, we're also going to be putting together more days with the really dry atmosphere in place. To me, that says it's going to take a bigger, more moisture-laden system to come in here and make it to the surface. Otherwise, you may evaporate a large chunk of it before you even get to that point. Temperatures definitely cool here as we go through today, tomorrow, and even Sunday. But I think as we go into next week, then, more southerly wind flow we get across the state, the more we're going to see our temperatures sneak back closer to normal. That's the way things are stacking up. Have a great rest of your day. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin on Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
Monitor your grain anytime, any place with GrainTrack from Co-Alliance. GrainTrack uses the latest technology for remote temperature readings every 30 minutes. Let GrainTrack remove the guesswork from grain storage so you don't need to drive, climb, or keep handwritten notes to track information. Save money on electricity and shrink by not over-drying. A typical installed system is only a few cents per bushel. For more information, check out GrainTrack at coalliance.com. GrainTrack bin monitoring only from Co-Alliance.
This is Hoosier Ag Today and the Thursday Farm Market Review. I'm Andy Eubank, and we had mixed markets on Thursday with beans the only sector on the downside. The update is brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply the best value in the seed industry, 800-708-2676 and seedconsultants.com. Corn and beans went higher, but soybeans sold off, unable to continue the rally of a day earlier.
That's true, Andy. Meal is weaker, down $3.20 a ton right now, soy meal. and that's having a negative effect on the bean market. I'm showing November beans down about 6 3/4 right now. We did get our weekly export sales report this morning. The corn number came in at 748.2 thousand metric tons. That was at the low end of the range. 700 to 900 was the range. We had a very strong soybean number, as was expected, maybe even a little stronger than expected. Well, it was, according to the average trade estimates, actually. 2.506 million metric tons. The range 1.3 to 1.7. And we also had 120,000 metric ton sale announced in the daily export reporting system this morning. So good soybean export sales last week and again today, as I said, in the private system. The wheat number was abysmal at 77.1. The range was 250 to 450, so that was not a good number. Soy meal were mid-range of expectations. Soy oil was actually 32.5, toward the higher end of the expectation. So the strong export sales did support the soybean market for a little while, but since that was largely already factored into the market, a little bit of a sell-off, like I say, on the weakness in the meal. Also, soybean yields being reported across the Corn Belt. For the most part, I'd have to classify as coming in a little better than expected, and that is having a little negative effect in the futures market today also with some hedge pressure. The weekly ethanol number came out yesterday at 943,000 barrels a day average daily production. That was up 5,000 barrels a day from the week before. Ethanol stocks declined to 18.782 million barrels. They were down 118,000 barrels from the week before. Harvest is marching right along, Andy. It's a beautiful harvest day today here in central Indiana and across a lot of the Corn Belt. I looked at radar just a minute ago, and there's very, very limited precipitation across the majority of the belt. Combines are rolling. Talked to folks from various places in Indiana today and in the other states, and we're making good progress.
Mike Silver at Kokomo Grain, and the toll-free office number, if you'd like to get in touch with him, is 800-666-0613. Now the final numbers in Chicago. The corn market up a penny on the December, 388 3/4. March corn $3.99 3/4, also up a penny, and May 406 1/4, up 3/4. Beans got beat down. November 877 1/4, down 14 3/4, and January 880 3/4, losing 13 1/4. A nickel higher for wheat. December 518 1/4, that was up 5.5 cents. Livestock, on the other hand, was lower, and a day after a rough day for live cattle futures, lower again, but not as severely. 130 even on the December contract, down 92. December lean hogs, 64.52, down $2.20. And those are the Thursday markets, and that will do it for our Friday morning edition here on Hoosier Ag Today. We're back later today after 11 o'clock Central, 12 noon Eastern Time with the midday edition. An update on the grain markets, expert analysis as well with Bob Utterback, scheduled to be here from Utterback Marketing Services, and also the updated Indiana crop weather with Ryan Martin checking back in with a weather update. Again, that's later today here on Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.